It looks like the Matrix is attacking me.
Imagine you like 40 years old and you unironically said the Matrix is attacking you. Internet alpha men. You know them red pill podcasters, the fretting fish, the liver kings, the claviculars. Now, I have no problem with people being masculine at all, okay? No issues with that. No issues if you want to uphold traditional values. I don't really care, okay? You do what you want to do. The thing that I always find really funny about these alpha men podcasters is they are always some of the biggest hypocrites on earth. Fresh and Fit, for example, all right? Some of the most notorious ones.
Again! You idiots!
They always preach that, you know, women were... They said that women were valueless and that they would never date anyone who dates men for money or that is selling their body. And then they proceed to find women to date on Seeking Arrangements. Y'all don't know what Seeking Arrangements is? It's a sugar daddy website. That's how they found their girlfriends, while also making fun of the same type of women they choose to date. It's almost like all these values that they uphold, they don't actually believe. Why? Because they're trying to sell you something. They're trying to sell you this ideology, so you pay for their courses, so you give them money through super chats, so you give them views, all sorts of stuff. A lot of them, they do not live the life that they explain that they live. This video is called The Pathetic Life of an Internet Alpha Male by Patrick CC.
A generation of lost young men turned to the internet looking for role models and instead found a cesspool of self-proclaimed alpha males.
The only alpha male-esque guy I think you can actually learn something from, even if this is kind of controversial, I'm still going to say it. I think Jordan Peterson actually has some like wisdom and some gems that you can say, or he kind of provides for young men that might be lost. But the rest of these goobers and doofuses suck.
Ready to exploit them. These gurus preach confidence and discipline, but the deeper you look, the clearer it becomes that their lives are nothing like what they sell. Behind the tough guy personas are men drowning in insecurity, fraud, lies, and desperation.
Yep.
Some of these guys claim to have the highest IQ on the planet, and others literally admit to doing meth to look more attractive. Today we're discussing...
Oh yeah, he does do meth to do more attractive. He also recently hit someone with his Tesla on stream.
Most notorious ones, starting with King Azulai, the alpha who pled guilty to sexual contact with a 15-year-old girl.
Wow, would you look at that?
Oh,
also a lot of them, like for example, like Andrew Tate, they're like, yeah, I would never support, you know, adult content. And then meanwhile, they make all of their money by basically coercing women into doing OF, and they manage their accounts and take a big profit split.
Azulai essentially looked at Andrew Tate and said, I can do the same thing, only Ben has less charisma and it is way less convincing when he lies, because his origin story is almost certainly completely made up. According to Ben, his mother came to America through the Mexican border to give birth to him. He spent his early childhood going between America and his mother's home country of Israel, before permanently settling in the United States at 10 years old. Ben claims that he began visiting a Chinese restaurant every day for lunch, where he was mentored by the restaurant's owner and trained in the art of kung fu. Ben, who barely spoke English at the time, became the target of bullying at school and used his newly acquired martial arts skills to beat anyone and everyone up who disrespected him.
What in the Kung Fu Panda ass plotline is this, bro? This is literally the plot of Kung Fu Panda. Am I tweaking? Like, ain't the panda work at a noodle shop and then he gets mentored in Kung Fu? Like, what are we talking? Like, you literally caught, you're reheating Kung Fu Panda's nachos. Or like Karate Kid.
People really understand things better when they get a fist in their face. They just act different. So everybody started respecting me.
At the age of 13, Ben claims that he fought 30 guys at once and they could not fully defeat him. Well, at least that's what I think.
30 guys at once. Okay, buddy. Were you armed and they weren't? Because 30 guys at once, even a trained military person will be like, yeah, that's not possible. Someone that's trained to kill people will tell you that's not possible if it's hand-to-hand combat.
He changes the story a lot.
I got my ass kicked one time in my life. I was 13 years old. I got jumped by about 30 guys outside of a house party.
When I was 13 years old, I got jumped by like 30 guys. They beat the shit out of me. One hit me with a baton over the face. And that was the time that I stopped hanging out with people. And believe it or not, today, one of my best friends is a black guy. But at the time, you know, it was literally people that I knew. And they jumped me, you know, 30 guys. They were 17 and 18, I was 13.
I fought guys that were 7 foot tall, and I fought guys that were almost 400 pounds. I fought 10 guys.
400 pounds? What type of 400-pound man is gonna be able to swing on you, bro? They can barely move. They're melting to their couch. What are you talking about? 400 pounds. You couldn't just outrun him? At 400 pounds, you couldn't outrun him? He's not going to catch you.
At the same time, I beat
Like,
your
make the
ass,
lie
and
believable, you know?
I fought 40 guys and I got jumped by them, and I was 13 years old. It did not matter how many people it was, how big you are, you could be 50 feet tall.
After developing a reputation for being a fighter, Ben said he joined the Russian mafia and started participating in underground fighting matches.
And eventually at the age of 18, I became one of the guys in the mafia. I was named the Kid, and it was the Russian mob. I started fighting underground fights.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's telling the freaking truth. You started kicking everybody's butt.
Yeah, he was putting me in there with anybody. I told him, give me anybody, I'll eat their throat. I don't care who it is.
You were just a...
I was a... He was literally saying just...
My favorite part about Ben is that
And like, why do you see, I don't understand why they go on these podcasts saying this thing and it makes them look good too. Like, what about this gives you mentorship and life advice? Like, how did that help you get to a place where you're making money and you have a happy life? It didn't. You just wasted your damn time. You literally just wasted your damn time.
even though he portrays himself as a ruthless, vicious fighter, he does show his deep insecurities for his height. Standing at a mere 5'7", he justifies his height by comparing himself to some of the worst men in human history.
Height doesn't mean anything. It's 5'6". Having longer limbs do not make you any better. You ever seen Putin? 5'6". No. Joseph Stalin? 5'7.5".
Anyways, while he was participating
He just listed 3 people that have committed mass genocide and we're like, yeah, see, I'm powerful like them. Gang, what? I don't even know how many people Putin killed, but it's been a lot. Stalin killed Stalin's killed more than Hitler, okay? Honestly, I think Hitler in that entire list killed the least amount of people, which is crazy if you look at it in retrospect. But I actually think he killed less people than the other 2 names, which is insane. Maybe Putin is less, but I don't know. Putin still was crazy.
in underground fights at age 18, he was also arrested, which led to some prison time.
And I got arrested for something that they said that I did, and I didn't do it. And when I got out all clean after I spent a little bit of time in jail, I said, I'm never coming back here again.
Remember this because we would later find out why he actually went to prison, and it was much worse than fighting. After his stint behind bars, Ben says he went to China where he trained with Shaolin monks, who taught him some interesting ways to strengthen his bones.
And they explained to me that the strongest part of the body is actually your skull. And if you train your skull for about an hour a day, bang it against the wall, after a year it becomes 4 times thicker than it really is.
Yeah, and you become 4 times more likely to have brain damage. What are we talking about? Now I understand why he's an idiot, bro. Okay, his brain is cooked. He probably has had he's probably been concussed 4 times, can barely even think straight.
That you become unstoppable, indestructible.
I actually do believe that Ben would regularly bang his head against the wall, because only someone who did that would manufacture this online persona by using plots from Fight Club, The Karate Kid, and Kung Fu Panda.
That's what I'm saying. Yo, that's exactly what I said. Yo, Patrick, let's go, bro. We locked in.
That we were going to believe it. It's very clear that Ben is trying to make his childhood sound more interesting than it actually was, but he lies.
Bro was probably just an immigrant kid who got bullied for not being able to speak English, and that's it. And then he was insecure about his height, so then he hit the gym, got on steroids, and then committed crimes because he was useless to society. Boom.
So much that he can't even keep track of his own contradictions. Now, it is possible that some of his story could be true, but there are so many things that contradict each other to the point where it makes it seem like everything is a lie. Firstly, he said he started his own business shortly after being released from prison and was making 50 grand a month by the time he was 20, thus making him able to retire by age 24. But Ben has also claimed that he worked for a top secret counterterrorism unit for over 10 years.
I told you, I worked in counterterrorism for over a decade. So for me, I wasn't allowed to be even on social media or any of these things. And even today, I'm not allowed to even speak about what unit I was in, things like that for the next 5 years. I can't share it with anybody. But
There's a lot of people out there that would say, now that's where I'm calling bullshit.
That's fine. Nobody cares. I
And
don't
it's
care.
convenient that you can't talk about it, so no one can verify.
Well, you know, there's units that are called invisible units.
I'm not doubting you. I always give everyone the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I don't care.
But if I were to question it, I would say, well, wait a minute. At 17, you were homeless. At 18, 19, you were cleaning carpets. Then you got into
I got out of
telemarketing. Yeah. Then you started doing real estate and you started investing here and there. That was only 10 years ago. So when was the counterterrorism?
Yeah.
And who is it for? The Israeli army?
Well, it's Israel and the United States who work with both.
That's the
Because that
CIA.
No. Counterterrorism is a little bit different.
But you had to be with somebody.
No, I'm pretty sure counterterrorism is the CIA. I'm like 99% sure, actually. I'm pretty sure that's like 50% of what the CIA does. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I'm pretty sure that's like half of their job.
Yeah, but can't talk about who I was with. Come on.
Now, if he truly retired at age 24, then he would have had to start working in this alleged counterterrorism unit at the age of 14. This also means that he would have been working in this position while he was going to high school, fighting in underground cage matches.
Yeah, and the CIA, okay, listen. My grandpa was in FBI, okay? The CIA, listen, how they decide if you're going to be FBI or CIA is you take a test and they assign it to you. From what my grandpa told me. Now, Brody is like 80, so it might be different now. But you take a test, you don't get to pick, they assign you to one. Getting to that point is very difficult. They would never have a child be a CIA agent or an FBI agent. The amount of training you need to even get to that point would surpass and elapse the amount of time a kid would even have. By the time you got to that stage, you would already be an adult. It's not a very quick thing to get into. And there's no way the CIA of all agencies would pick a child to be a counterterrorism agent for them. That's such a security risk. But no, you know what? I believe him though. He alpha. He can do it, bro. He can do it. You know what I'm saying? Them steroids, look at how big he is and how buff he is, bro. And look at how rich he is. And look at all the Instagram models with double D boobs he's hanging out with. Clearly, he knows what he's doing. Clearly. That Bugatti he has, it's not rented. He owns it for real. That house he has, it's his.
Living with Chinese monks, and also being locked up in prison. And since we can't tell what is actually a lie and what is the truth, it's easy to assume that his lifestyle of endless riches, mansions, and sports cars are also greatly embellished. Taking a look at his personal website, Ben claims to have made his $150 million fortune selling patents.
Also, if you were making $50,000 a month when you were 20 and you did that for 4 years, you wouldn't have enough money to retire and you wouldn't have anywhere near $150 million. What are we talking about?
I was only able to find 2 published patents under the name of Benjamin Azoulay, both of which were filed in 2020. Even if we were to assume that both of these patents somehow sold for a grand total of $150 million, they were filed well after his 24th birthday, which he claims at that point was when he was able to retire due to his endless riches. I'm fairly certain that this is a completely different person with
Also, if he was able to retire, he wouldn't be making content on social media flexing how rich he is. No one that has $150 million and is retired is doing these social media antics unless they need the social media antics to make money. You think someone that has that much money is going to waste their time on the internet trying to appease strangers? No, they're going to be on a yacht in Milan, bitch. Okay, do you see Mark Zuckerberg talking about how rich he is and how he's an alpha male on the internet? No, he not even retired.
Same name, and Ben has no history of selling patents at all. He also claims in his biography to have had an active role in 16 different businesses that have generated $500 million in sales, as well as claiming to have won multiple awards for both bodybuilding and cage fighting.
I mean, that's believable, the bodybuilding, but the cage fighting,
I tried to find any evidence of these claims and came up with absolutely nothing. But at the end of the day, even the most simple framing of Ben's life doesn't make sense.
Damn that, and he got like facial filler, bro. Like, yo, he's such an alpha male that he got like Botox and filler, bro, and a hair transplant, maybe even a facelift. I don't know. Them cheeks don't look correct though. That's not natural.
If he truly made 150 mil and was able to retire at age 24, why is he trying to sell people a self-improvement course online? According to Ben, it's because he wants to impart his wisdom to young men and help them become strong and successful like he claims to be.
Okay, so make it free. The only reason you wouldn't make it free is because you need the money.
There's nothing that could impress me. I don't care if you have a Bugatti, you have a private jet, you have a yacht. I've seen it all.
Yeah, you have, but you want to know what you haven't seen? Some good morals and ethics. some happiness, being content with your life, love, freedom from insecurity. There's a lot of stuff you haven't seen because everyone around you does the same thing where they masquerade all of their problems with these fancy, lavish things while being deeply insecure about everything that they're inadequate in.
I don't care for it. I care for people now. And what I do for many years now is coach people, help guys not to go through the things that I went through. You could be a strong man. You could be a tough guy. You could be an alpha.
Also, why is he just holding the cigar?
This sentiment, as nice as it sounds, doesn't hold much weight. Someone who made $150 million would not be selling a course. The course he's selling is funding the mansions, cars, and lifestyle he portrays. But there is one thing Ben is telling the truth about. He did in fact spend time in prison.
Oh, what he do?
He hasn't been fully honest.
I guarantee you it's going to be like some related crime.
About how he ended up there. A YouTuber named John Bravo Films was able to uncover court documents revealing that Ben was sentenced to prison after he, his brother, and his friends took turns brutally assaulting a 15-year-old girl while she was intoxicated.
Why is it always that with these guys, bro? Why is it always this? It's always this. It's always this.
Without getting into specifics, the court documents tell an unbelievably violent and graphic story that resulted in the young girl becoming both mentally and physically scarred from the event. Once the girl was able to escape the men, she called the police and the three were arrested. Ben was 18 years old and thus tried as an adult. He also admitted his guilt in open court. Ben vehemently denied all of the information that John Bravo revealed and responded exactly how you would expect him to. He basically said he is being canceled by the Matrix.
Now it looks like
Yo, the term The Matrix, bro. You know the damn creators of that movie are like, they running our reputation through the mud. Like, no. Also, if he's so secure, why is he using a beauty filter on his Instagram story? 8K Ultra HD beauty? Like, why are you using skin smoothing if you're such an alpha male? I feel like that's not alpha male activity, no? I feel like that's an insecure activity.
I pissed off a lot of people, guys. A lot of people. So many because I became so influential so quick. And I'm literally one of the most talked about influencers in the world today.
I've never heard of you until this video, so clearly not.
That I got to the point that
you want to be Andrew Tate so bad.
They're putting out a lot of false information about me. A lot of bullshit. But you see, I never thought I'd say this.
Also, court documents can't be faked. It's public record. Anyone can look them up. If you know the filing number, you know the case number, you know where to request it off the government websites, anyone can look it up. It's public record. So how is this a lie? It's not like someone's like, oh, he said this. There's no he said, she said, there's no hearsay. It's a record. Like, you admitted guilt in court. Like, there are documents.
But I'm gonna say this. It looks like the Matrix is attacking me.
But the pressure from those online was too big for Ben to
imagine you like 40 years old and you unironically said the Matrix is attacking you. He really was slamming his head against the damn wall, wasn't he? Yeah, he really was. Because god damn, you had a brain damage. Holy crap. And guess what? I have brain damage, okay? Yeah. And I'm smarter than you. And I'm half your age. What's happening? I bet at the age of 23, I had more money than you did at 23. And you want to know what I didn't do? Lie, smash my head against the wall, and brutally assault someone. Thoughts? Opinions?
ignore. So he further elaborated in a now deleted video where he claims the entire situation was made up. He claims that the girl in question filed a $15 million lawsuit, and rather than spending hundreds of thousands in lawyers' fees, they settled for a much smaller amount under the agreement that he pled guilty.
Why would someone sue you for $15 million if you're not rich at the time? Doesn't really make sense to me. Also, if it was a civil filing, you would be able to tell. If it's a criminal filing, the documentation would tell that as well. For civil filings, the burden of proof is a lot lower. Also, you pled guilty. If I was being accused of something so nefarious, you got me beyond thinking I'm pleading guilty for that and having it be on record forever. Only time you're gonna ever have me plead guilty for something I didn't do is if like they're like, oh, you'll get a month in jail instead of 20 years. Then yeah, maybe I'll take it on the chin. But like any other circumstance, hell no.
Story completely contradicts what is verifiably written in the court documents, as they directly claim that the nurses observed physical signs of SA all over the girl's body. Unsatisfied with his response, John Bravo continued exposing Ben.
Exactly. See? Like, come on. Also, why would she sue you for $15 million if you have no money? That just doesn't make sense. They can get awarded the money, and then if you sue someone for an amount that they just would never be able to pay you, what ends up happening is you never get that amount. They just do small installment plans that get you like a fraction of that amount. They adjust it based on the person's income. So there's no reason that that even makes sense.
Revealing that this was not even the first time Ben was charged with SA. The court documents clearly state
Not the first time!
that Ben and his brother Dylan had a past history of charges for SAing underage intoxicated girls. King Azulai has continued to try and define exactly what really happened, but whenever he clarifies things, it doesn't exactly make him look better.
I was never convicted of. I was convicted of oral copulation with a minor. I was.
There's no way that's a real sentence he said. This cannot be real, bro. This cannot be real. How is that literally any better? No. How is that literally any better?
I was 18, she was under 18. And I agreed to take a plea deal that I got a job from her. They were trying to teach me a lesson because a year before that, when I was underage, I had a fight with my ex-girlfriend. She cheated on me. I got hell of upset and I smacked her in the back of the head.
Recently, he has accused
What does that have to do with the other conviction? So you hit your girlfriend too on top of that? So you just admitted to hitting your girlfriend now too, like for no reason? Okay.
his most prominent detractors, including John Bravo, of hiring a hitman to take out his mother.
But these men are not the ones that I worried about so much. It's about this email that I received this morning. An email that sounds like it's coming from a hitman. This kind of an email describes exactly what they're going to do to my mother.
The email Ben shows is almost certainly completely fabricated, coming from an email address that doesn't even exist, meaning Ben made this entire thing up just to paint himself as the victim. Now, whatever credibility he has left is certainly gone, and still to this day, Ben is
also, you get one email threat and you're like, yes, this is legit scary. But like what you did to those like 3-4 underage girls and your girlfriend wasn't scary for them? You're gonna cry on the internet over a piece of text sent to you virtually?
trying to rebrand from being known as a fraud and a violent
Also, why would a hitman email you what he's gonna do? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I'm gonna kill you on October 3rd, 2026 at approximately 10:58 p.m. CST. What type of dumbass hitman would do that? Like, hitmen are supposed to be like the middleman that no one finds out about and no one knows who they were, how they got there. What?
User, much like Wes Watson, who was once seen as the example.
Oh, anyone that got veins right here like that, bro, this is not someone to aspire to be, bro. They're gonna die an early death, bro. I'm telling you, bro's gonna tap out at like 60, 70. I'm dead ass. That is not natural. Steroids.
Example of how an ex-convict can truly turn their life around to now facing charges that could land him back behind bars. When Wes Watson first started posting content back in 2019, his videos mainly focused on his time.
He literally looks like a GTA parody character of like an alpha male. But like he's a dead ass a real person.
Spent in federal prison. Wes claims that he started selling weed during his teenage years and was making up to $40,000 a week. Although Wes has given various different versions
40K selling weed as a kid, I don't buy it.
Of this story, so that's just a rough estimate.
Not that profitable.
11. I just
it's weed, bro. It's not like it's like and it's not like it's like weed. Weed is like the least profitable drug, I'm pretty sure, by margins, because like it's so common. it's also the easiest one to make.
hustling. By the time I was 16, I went and bought a truck at like a lifted Z71 cash, like 50 grand. I had hundreds of thousands of dollars at 15, 16.
I started smoking weed at like 13 or 12. By the time I was 14 or 15, the natural progression was to start slanging.
And despite selling what he describes as a large amount of product, he managed to avoid the law for a long time. That was until a fateful night in November of 2009 where Wes physically assaulted a man after a drug deal that had gone wrong. Notably, Wes was not actually involved in the deal itself, but rather serving as more of a low-level grunt called in after the deal fell through. Not exactly the hotshot kingpin he claims he was. What is true is that Wes spent nearly a decade in prison, and stories he told from his time locked up brought him almost immediate success on YouTube. And
listen, I would love to hear like prison story times, okay? I would eat that up, I'm not gonna lie. But that doesn't mean I'm aspire to be like you, okay? And you're gonna be some motivational person for me. You got incarcerated. What's motivational about that? I just want to hear what happens. Like, did you get shanked? You know what I'm saying? Just because I want to hear you talk about maybe getting shanked doesn't mean I want to end up like you, okay? You're not something I aspire to be. You're something I watch and I'm like, damn, that's crazy. And then I never think about again.
Under half a year since his first upload, Wes was already able to get 250,000 subscribers. And during the pandemic, Wes had a unique opportunity and began creating more motivational content to help people increase their mental fortitude and physical fitness while trapped at home. This is when Wes began offering what he describes as self-mastery programs, which sought to teach young men how to hone in their physical strength, business capabilities, and mindset. Thanks to programs like this, Wes claims that he now makes an average of $3 million per month.
Like, you don't make $1 million a month?
Also, the thing with these people that sell courses on how to get rich is like, listen, here's the whole business model is bullshit. And here's why. They only got rich by telling you how to get rich. So they don't actually know how to get rich without selling you a story about how to get rich that doesn't exist. Because they were never rich until they started telling you how to get rich. So they were just lying the whole time. You paid for their lies, and then that's what got them rich. Like, you're not like Alex Hormozy or some guy who sold a business for $30 million and then wrote a book about it. And people are like, wow, this is knowledgeable. No. Your whole business model was, I got rich. Look at my Lamborghini. Here's how you do it. And then you just lie. And that's how you actually get rich. There was no paper trail of you being rich prior. So this business model never makes sense. It never makes sense, bro.
Make a third of what I make a month. If you make $1 million a month, I can't respect someone who's doing a third of me financially. I can respect the guy whose yacht is fucking 300 million. He murdered me. I have to understand what he did.
Although we have no way to verify how much money he was actually
But
making.
It's inspiring words, Quinn. He wrote them on steroids.
I can say for sure is any businessman who was making $3 million per month would absolutely respect and listen to the advice of another businessman who was making $1 million per month. Despite his arrogance, Wes was relatively respected in the early days of his content creation career. His videos served as a cautionary tale of just how brutal and unforgiving spending time in federal prison can be. Wes sold himself as a man who learned from his mistakes and was trying to teach other people lessons that he had to learn the hard way. In particular, Wes has claimed that his anger issues were the catalyst for many of his problems.
My biggest vice is anger. I have a problem with it. It's the biggest battle.
Like, that's fair. Like, I feel like that content you can do honestly, but everything else, like, no.
My life. These vices hold us from everything, all our dreams, everything we could ever possibly just gather up and love for our lives. Our vices are holding us from it.
Of course, Wes put on the persona that he was a changed man and now found healthy ways to deal with his anger.
I don't fall victim to my old vices.
You're literally oozing spit from your mouth from how angry you are, bro. Look at this.
Vices.
Like, you see that?
The drugs, the negative shit, the anger.
Your whole body is turning red because how angry you are. I don't trust people who are like always red, bro. They're mad.
I don't fall victim to it no more. I've done so good on my anger lately too. I'm so proud of it.
You're so angry. You have veins in your chest that I've never even seen in other people before.
You guys, you have to drop all this shit and not drag your family through the mud.
But this didn't seem to be the case, as conflicts in his personal life made it to the public eye, and they showed that Wes hadn't really changed at all, particularly when Valerie Watson, Wes's now ex-wife, posted a video to social media accusing her husband of both physical and emotional abuse.
I literally have held my tongue for way too long to protect him. It's not happening anymore. He's physically hurt me so many times that it's unforgivable. And I do have a video of Wes charging at me and has put like a knife to my face and literally have told me, like, has threatened to kill me.
Valerie also specifically emphasizes that the person Wes portrays himself to be online is a lie, and that he did not follow the same rules and principles he promoted to his audience. She also included pictures of her bloodied hand and bruised arms, implying that Wes had directly caused the injuries. Then again, it is possible that he had a jealous ex who was just trying to make up stories because he was becoming successful and popular online. That is for sure what Wes's fanbase thought, which is why this wasn't the final nail in the coffin for his career. And over the next few years, more information would come out.
That's true if you got one crazy ex that comes out, but if you got multiple, come on now. There's no way 3 people in a row are gonna lie about something that you did and unless they're not making money off of it. Like, there's no way. Like, that just doesn't make sense, bro. That literally does not make sense. The only way I could see that happening is if the first person lied and sued you, won for a bunch of money, said then other people start doing repeat things. Otherwise, if 3 people expose you and it's like they gain nothing to do so, like, be so serious. There's no lie there.
Out about Wes that essentially proved
I will say though, like, I think she's telling the truth. Okay, about this guy, I do, just based off his vibes. there are people that will come out and lie. There are, like, it happens. I think people love to be like, believe all victims. Sometimes the victim is the person you think is the perpetrator because the victim is a liar and they're creating a victim in the person that you're deeming as the aggressor. So sometimes you don't actually know who the real victim is, right? That's why I'm not always one to just jump on allegations and be like, wow, they're 100% did this. But he ended up in prison. He ended up having an angry personality type, all this stuff. Like, come on, bro. Like, the stars are aligning for this to be the truth. Like, be for real. Like, you're not fooling anybody that is thinking straight.
His detractors that his whole life was a hoax. His mega mansion, which he claimed to have purchased, was not actually his. The property was listed for rent at $65,000 a month in October of 2022, and the listing was removed a month later in November, right before he uploaded his vlog showing off the property. His Bugatti Chiron, he also does not own. Even his girlfriends, and I'm not joking, are literally rented. Wes was exposed.
Yo, you renting girlfriends? I'm telling you, all these alpha males are always like, yeah, I bag bad bitches. And they're just paying for them on the internet. They're always just paying for them. They're always just paying for them. And then when you expose them for doing that, they're like, well, a real alpha male like me, he's spending all his time making money, doesn't have time to entertain girls. Paying for it is just more cost effective because I make more money not trying to risk them. But you're trying to sell to men how to find true love and all sorts of things and how to bag bitches and have charisma. You don't even have any of that. You don't even have any of that. Not just the stars, the planets. Well, stars are bigger than planets, so.
For hiring a female escort for $200 an hour and pretending that she was his actual girlfriend. His house is rented, his cars are rented, and even his girlfriends are rented. Which doesn't mean that he is secretly broke, it's just clear he isn't exactly the business mogul he claims to be. If Wes had taken the money he's been wasting on overpriced cars and homes
invested
for
it.
Instagram and actually invested it, he could have actually owned real assets by now.
Truth nuke.
Large property, maybe not supercars, but still expensive luxury cars. But he didn't do that because Wes is creating the illusion of success to sell more courses and coaching to people who don't understand what real success is. Which is, I have to admit, ironically, a good business strategy.
It is a good business strategy, but you have to make sure you don't overinvest in the facade, which these people always end up doing because guess what? They start to like the facade. They start to like the fact that people perceive them this way, so then they go into debt.
The problem is this relies on the customer lacking intelligence and desperately wanting a role model, and thus paying a con artist with deep insecurities. He even lies about his height. Despite being listed as 5'8" in court documents, Wes gets furious when anyone suggests he's shorter than 6 feet tall.
How tall am I? I'm 6 foot. When we went into medical,
This is why when I say I'm 6 foot, people don't believe me because they're like, your little twink ass is not 6 feet. Like, because we got people like this lying. No, I'm dead 6 feet, okay? But listen, I'm skin and bones, all right? I ain't trying to be no alpha male, okay? I'm not capping. But you making me look bad, sir.
I was booked. I was 6 foot 252. And I said, why the f does my paperwork say 5'8", 230? That's the eyeball of the arresting officer.
To make matters.
No, they literally measure you. They literally measure you because they have to be accurate, that they can identify you easier if you were to reoffend. Like if they arrest you and they book you, they take your fingerprints, a mugshot, and they measure how tall you are and they take your weight.
It's worse, he literally uses special insoles to boost his height, and he does a terrible job at hiding it. Wes has such a hard time keeping track of his lies that the alpha womanizer admitted to being bisexual during an interview.
I guarantee he always on his podcast being homophobic, like gay men aren't real men. And then he over here like, you know, sucking Chad's. You try and get a taste of Chad, but you're accusing Chad and yourself of not being a Chad. A little ironic, ain't it?
There's a Q&A on the way here. Someone said, skinny or thick chicks? I'm like, I like them skinny thick. You know, what the f you mean? Like, everything's like that for me. They're like, are you straight or are you this? I'm everything. I'm not just one or the other.
And despite portraying himself as a stoic yet intense tough guy who learned from his mistakes and can now control his anger, Wes's temper was
So if you into both, was you like slanging it in prison, gang? Or he's just that bad at lying that he can admit it to being bi completely by accident? I mean, that is honestly, listen, I'm being honest with you, that probably is just the truth, okay? But I just think it's funny to make fun of him for being gay because he probably doesn't want to be perceived as gay because he probably has a negative view of gay people like most of these alpha men do. Like, whenever people make fun of these alpha men for being gay, listen, realistically, if they just said they were gay, no one would care. The only reason people care is because they've lied about it and upheld these beliefs that, oh, being gay is less manly. And they've said that to their audience for so long that if their audience were to find out they were gay, they would feel lied to, and they believe all these bad things. So they're going to then spew it at you. If you off rip were like, yeah, I'm bisexual, and what about it? And then preached all this stuff, no one would care. But you brand yourself as thing A, and then people find out you're thing B. So they're going to make fun of you being thing B because they know you're insecure about it.
Completely out of control, violently threatening anyone who had a different opinion than him.
Are you saying that your Bugatti and your money and everything else is worth more than your children?
Like, my dad's a superhero. Look what he brought to the table. Look how hard this guy works. He came from nothing to
God, this is like the clown lineup of all time, bro. Oh my God. So much debauchery and buffoonery in one room. It's actually impressive, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, this whole panel went crazy. Honestly, this guy, the guy accusing him of something, is probably the only guy that has a rational brain. He just, because he's getting him, he's rage baiting him.
Yeah.
He works, God damn it.
You're still whining. Stop whining and just make an argument.
Dude, I'll smack your fat ass.
So you're gonna
look at your goddamn self.
Okay,
I've never seen such a pathetic motherfucker.
Okay, well,
look how short he is, bro. Like he almost as short as this guy sitting down, bro.
A little bit, man. A little bit.
This is not what men look like.
Oh, this guy tiny too.
What do they look like? What do they look like? Bald prisoners?
Like many of these alpha males, Wes also had a habit of challenging other men to fights whenever he felt slighted by them, leading up to an altercation.
Oh yeah, this is the biggest way to tell that someone has like masculinity issues or is like an immature person, is that they always try to instigate fights instead of just like leaving when someone is acting erratic. If you always feed into fights, or you always feed into like people rage baiting you, you are literally so pathetic. It's insane. Like, I cannot be friends with people like that. Like, if someone's screaming obscenities about you in public, or like, let's say you're like, you're a person A, okay? You're in A category, and there's some random guy on the street being like, yeah, everyone that's a person A is a bitch, da 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 da, and you feel the need to confront them and make it a big scene. You're insecure about being that way. Like, you should just be able to let it roll off your shoulder and be like, yeah, this person's tripping, and just like not let it affect you. Which, honestly, I've realized I'm very good at doing. Like, I listen, I gotta give it to myself, okay? I feel like maybe because of my job, I'm good at doing it, but people in real life, genuinely, when they do stuff like that, I just leave. Like, I don't care. Like, I will never fight back with you. I just do not care. Like, I will just laugh and be like, you got that, which means, you're making no sense. You have no basis for that claim. I'm not gonna entertain that, so you got that. You're right. You're absolutely correct. And then I'm going to leave because I don't want to deal with you. Okay. I'm not getting paid to deal with you. So therefore I'm not going to. Okay. Your little negative IQ and mood is going to rub off on me. I'm out. The only time I ever get rage bait on the internet nowadays is because, well, I fake it for content, or I have tens of thousands of people spreading a lie about me because they hate me for some truth that I exposed like a year and a half ago. Which, like, any normal person would get driven crazy by people constantly being like, oh, well, Quinn Benet is this. And like, they have no basis for this claim. They just dislike me because I called someone a creep a year and a half ago, and turns out it was true. I just said a little early.
That would change his life.
Otherwise, nothing really kind of matters. I will always find it funny too. I'll sometimes post like stuff that y'all roast me on like my private Instagram, and people will be like, "Are you okay? Like, are you fine?" I'm like, "Yeah, I thought this was funny," and they're like, "Oh, damn, you must have a thicker skin than me." I've had it happen like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, bro, I'll post like the image of me on Reddit when I got the surgery or whatever, like with all the wires attached. I posted that because I thought that was dead hilarious. And everyone was like, "Are you okay? Oh my God, I'm sorry they said that." I was like, whoa. I was not posting this for sympathy. I was posting this because I thought it was hilarious. Like, yo, my skin is a lot thicker than I guess I thought it was.
Forever. Now, the nature of this video is extremely graphic and cannot be shown on YouTube, but footage of Wes violently beating up another man would be leaked by John Bravo, in which we can see Wes hit the man with a weightlifting belt, then him and his friends pin the man down and endlessly hurl punches at his head and even kick him in the face multiple times. The man in question would press charges, leading Wes to be arrested for felony assault and battery. He is now facing up to 25 years in prison. Ironically, Wes is now right back where he started, and potentially may find himself behind bars once again. Recently, he has restricted or completely disabled his comment sections on all of his social media accounts, going to show just how fragile his ego really is. Worst of all, his reputation is so destroyed that the only people who are willing to collaborate with him are people like Jack Doherty and the Island Boys. Wes is
the clowns.
Perfect example of someone who would have greatly benefited from following his own advice, just like the Liver King, who had a psychotic meltdown after being exposed for not living the lifestyle he promoted. Brian Johnson, better known—
This guy is all sorts of weird. Like, okay, listen, if anyone looks like this, they're not healthy, bro. Like, I don't understand what these alpha males think, like looking like your body is about to explode from the amount of like blood and muscle tissue that is seeping out of your skin is a healthy look. Like, you cannot achieve this body naturally. It's not a healthy look, okay? Also, his stomach, he has like what you call like a bloated gut, and it's from like steroid use and improper training.
As the Liver King, was a divisive figure from the very beginning of his career. His claim to fame was the promotion of what he calls the ancestral lifestyle, which sought to replicate the daily routine of our ancient human ancestors.
Yeah, which didn't involve anabolic steroids and injecting, you know, hormones into your bloodstream directly with needles. You know, they didn't do that. So you already lying.
This meant consuming a diet of foods.
And he had the audacity to go online and be like, I've never used steroids. Anyone that looks like that has 1,000% used steroids. Anyone who looks like that. Okay. There are some people that use steroids and you can't even tell they use steroids because that's how weak the physique is anyways. But like, that physique is not possible naturally. I will always respect someone who said I use steroids over someone who won't admit it that is using it. Because like, what's the harm realistically? Like, oh yeah, I don't want to promote it to my audience. Okay, if you don't want to promote steroid use, that's fine. But if someone asks you and you're like, yeah, I did, I respect that a lot more. There are a lot of like bodybuilders on YouTube or bodybuilder people that will actually just tell you they've used steroids, or will be like, yeah, I'm cycling on this, which I respect way more because it allows their audience to understand, hey, if I don't look like them, even though I'm doing what they're doing, it's not because something is wrong with me. It's because I'm not injecting steroids.
Like raw liver, raw bone marrow, and even raw bull testicles. His ancestral lifestyle also applied to his workout routines, which were designed to simulate the physical strain that an ancient hunter-gatherer
would— Look at his stomach, bro. Look at that. You trying to tell me that's natural? How you got abs, but it looks fat at the same time? Anyone that got abs and they like bulge out like this, like, it's steroids. That's the easiest way to tell someone steroids. If their stomach, they does that and it like bulges out, steroids.
Experience during a hunt. Now, the idea of eating bull nuts already made the Liver King a giant meme, but those more familiar with health and fitness believe that Brian was not entirely honest about his ancestral way of living.
There's nothing ancestral about this guy. He's training with high-tech equipment, training properly, progressive overload. I'm gonna spoil it right now. I don't think he's natural. Don't believe that. And for all the haters, I want to be clear. I believe that there's more than a 50%—
I don't love this guy either in the fitness influencer scene. He's a little bit but
chance that he's on PDs.
Brian emphasized a natural and organic lifestyle more than the average fitness influencer, so the idea of him potentially using performance-enhancing drugs would be a much greater scandal than average. Of course, Brian was well aware of this and always rejected the idea that he was using steroids.
Other than the fact that you have a body that you have earned on your own, are you against steroids?
This is what I'll say. I care in the most positive way, because when somebody says, hey man, you're on steroids, and they've been saying this for 20 or 30 years. I've been working out since I was 8. So when I was in high school, hey man, you're on steroids.
You still can't get that amount of muscle mass and your gut looking like that unless you're on steroid use. What you should do, you should go to like a hormone doctor and have them measure the size of your nuts with that little string and balls. And if your nuts are like undersized for your like, you know, pubic development, we can tell if you're on steroids.
There's a lot of subprimals that are convinced that
subprimals. Like, yo, yeah, I cannot believe they say this stuff and think they sound logical. Like, no. Bro said subprimals. Like, that's like he's like a you know.
Steroids.
Is Liver King natty?
Do you think if I was on steroids, I would have these appendages down here, these legs?
Have legs?
Do you see how little my legs are?
Yeah, because you don't work them out. Steroids don't grow your muscles if you don't use them, bro. You still gotta work out, okay? It's just, you don't gotta work out as much to get the results. You get the results faster. You get results that can be achieved like more than your natural max limit. Because at certain times you will cap out, like eventually. Like you won't really get much bigger. You won't look much bigger after you've worked out for like 10 plus years and you've kind of maxed out your body's ability to develop muscle. It has a cap for a reason. It's so You don't die. Your muscles don't get too big for your body to function. Like, it just to avoid issues. Steroids artificially inflate the cap because it gives you more testosterone, which allows your body to overproduce a chemical which it shouldn't be able to then accentuate features. And if you don't use them to cap out, you just get results faster, right? If you use them to cap out, you look like that where your gut is spilling out because your body isn't big enough to contain the mass you've developed. And since he never worked out his legs, then yeah, they're not going to grow because you still have to work them out for the steroids to work. You don't take steroids and then just have muscle. Like, that's not how they work. You gotta work out the area. It just makes working out, it's like having like a booster on the effectiveness of working out.
When I was in college, I weighed 175 pounds and I was single digit body fat. I started working out about 8 or 9 years old. I had already been working out for, I don't know, 10 or 12 years. So now I'm 45 and I've gained less than 1 pound a year over 25 years. So this is what I say to people that make this accusation. If you don't believe this is possible, then I suggest that you take that self-limiting belief, you put that in a box and you bury that next to all your embarrassing shit and don't open your mouth about it. Let that live with you. Don't let that live with somebody else.
Notice how he never responds to the question with no. He only did outright deny his usage briefly one time on No Jumper.
So again, for the record, I've never taken steroids. I'm thinking about doing it.
Despite this, very few were actually convinced that he was natural. And when you think about it, hardly anything about Brian's life was ancestral to begin with. He lives in a modern house and posts on social media every day. Not to mention that he uses real weights, modern workout routines, and even a hyperbaric chamber to maintain his figure, all of which ancient humans never had. Plus a seemingly endless supply of supplements. I mean, just look at him compared to actual people living a tribal lifestyle. They simply look nothing like him. It's amazing what this primal ancestral diet can do for the human body. As you can see, these African hunters all share the same physique as Liver King. People had good reason to be skeptical, but without definitive proof, Liver King could have just been an anomaly. This would change when he was exposed in a series of leaked emails by a fitness YouTuber named Derek, better known
I like this guy. Derek, more plays, more dates. Okay, he uses steroids and he just tells people he does. Like, he literally is honest about it. He's like, yeah, I'm on steroids. And what? Okay, what you gonna do about it? Like, he's very honest about it. I like him. He's chill.
As more plates, more
That's what makes
dates.
videos on like hair loss.
These emails were sent before Brian's internet fame and show him consulting with a bodybuilding coach on how to improve his physique with the use of performance-enhancing drugs. He notably emphasizes the importance of fine-tuning his regimen in preparation for a social media campaign to grow his following, and lists out his current stack of performance-enhancing drugs. We also get a look at blood work results that Brian shows in relation to his drug usage. Most damning, however, was the revelation that Brian had actually previously reached out to Derek requesting fitness, coaching, and personally revealed his PED usage.
I need to get shredded.
Imagine reaching out to another YouTuber about using steroids and then claiming you didn't use steroids.
Have more energy and get my brain working better, but I overtrain. Approximately 12 to 14 workouts a week and can't stop. I played around with peptides and would like to explore real GH like Omnitrope and others. I sleep well, eat well. I even have a hard shell hyperbaric oxygen therapy, presumably, cold plunge, sauna, etc. at my house. I need next level, which is why I'm reaching out. Can you reassure me that all information discussed, wish confidential, presumably will be held confidential?
What once was likely an assumption was now the truth. The Liver King was lying about his entire online persona. He claimed that his body was achievable through the implementation of his ancestral lifestyle and sold many on the lie that they could look like him if they followed his system.
Okay, also, like, who would want to look like him? Like, no, it's not an attractive look. Like, you look like a brain aneurysm as a human being. Like, your body looks like it's suffering. Like, the veins look like they're in pain. Like, it looks, you look like you're in pain, bro. Like, it looks painful.
But now his system looked like a massive joke, and he had no choice but to confess. Brian's apology seems genuine on the surface. However, he continues to lie about many of the circumstances that led him to this point. He claims that he never intended to become an internet sensation and as a result mishandled his online persona. This narrative relies on you not knowing that Brian openly admitted that he was trying to reach 1 million followers in leaked emails before he even started his social media journey. He then goes on to claim that the Liver King persona was a social experiment aimed to inspire others to adopt healthier lifestyles.
Okay, bro, that's like being like, it's AI as a defense. Like, what do you mean? It's a social experiment. Okay. What? Oh yeah, I touched her booty unconsensually, but it was a social experiment. Okay, well, how about you socially experiment in prison, bitch?
Brian himself was not personally following the same rulebook.
4,000 people a day in themselves. That's 80,000 people a day that try to kill themselves. People who are trying to get reconciled with depression, autoimmune, anxiety, infertility, growth, and insulin life.
And what does it have to do with you injecting steroids and eating raw meat that's undercooked that can therefore probably increase autoimmune diseases, give people like, you know, I don't know, parasites and other sicknesses, salmonella? Like, what do you mean, sir? I don't understand how if I want to kill myself, you would do anything for me, except remind me of why this earth sucks and why I want to die even more. Yeah, so you made it your job to lie to them, mislead them, and therefore make them feel more weak, submissive, and lied to by society, therefore making them further jaded and then becoming worse people. Great.
He's trying so hard to build a bridge between depressive individuals and his steroid addiction, LMAO. Brian's reputation was completely shattered. Nobody believed Brian's sob stories or deeper motivations, and thus his reputation was completely shattered. He was now nothing more than a complete laughingstock of the internet. While he attempted to return to normalcy following his expose, Brian began to rot as the months went on, both physically and mentally. He notably lost a decent portion of muscle mass due to temporarily quitting the use of drugs to enhance his physique, but more fascinating was his extreme mental decline, in which he broadcasted for the entire world to see. People noticed his erratic behavior as he posted countless videos of himself nonsensically rambling.
Break, victory, champion. I like to win in life, or if you'd rather be one of those, you know? It was nice to meet you.
His content evolved into nothing more than an archive of directionless vlogs, filled almost entirely of dead air.
And I feel kind of bad because he has kids. What about for his kids?
Broken up with more incoherent
I don't really feel bad for him.
Brian had clearly
like if this is
lost
your parent,
his mind,
it's gonna be a
although
problem.
things would reach a boiling point when he was arrested for making death threats towards one of the largest podcasters on the planet. You see, Brian has an unnatural obsession with Joe Rogan, which was apparent long before he began showing any signs of mental decline. Joe even acknowledged that Brian had frequently made attempts to appear on his podcast, although was never offered an invitation.
One of them came up to me in Vegas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of my security guards stopped him. He was like, I'm a producer for the Liver King. I'm like, what the f do you produce? What are you producing?
Like, how many UFC events did he try and cozy up?
He was front row at one of my shows in Vegas. Yeah, and then I saw him again at the Canelo fight. He was trying really hard to get on the podcast. And he's been trying really hard to get on now. He contacted a few friends of mine, and some of them that have...
I think the voice is altered for copyright because he does not sound like this normally.
Bert Kreischer that had him on the show.
Yeah, he told me he's trying to get on.
Yeah, for what? For what? Say that more? Like, come on, this is dumb, man. You ran a con game, and you got busted.
Joe Rogan's disapproval cut Brian deeply. However, those feelings would devolve into full-blown hatred as his mental health declined further. Brian truly hit rock bottom shortly after the release of a Netflix documentary series about his rise and fall. After a break from the internet,
did he get a cut of that or no?
Brian returned looking more disheveled than ever before, with his face caked in dirt, twigs sticking out of his hair, and multiple wounds on his nose and eyebrow. In this video, he acknowledges 3 entities who he believes are trying to destroy his life. These 3 individuals are likely the documentary's creator, More Plates, More Dates, and Joe Rogan. Now he was on a personal vendetta to get revenge on those he believes have wronged him. Brian began openly threatening Joe Rogan, challenging him to a fight and graphically explaining how he would do it.
What I'm hoping is that you, Joe,
like, I don't understand these people that are like, yeah, I lied, and I'm gonna blame everyone who exposed that I was lying. Like, if you never lied, this wouldn't have been a story.
are thinking, I'm gonna choke that motherfucker out, lights out, I'm gonna choke him out. And I kind of hope that if you win, that's how it happens. You won't feel me tap. That's never happening, tapping. Shame on you, I'm gonna make you pay. I am gonna actually make you pay.
My name's Liver King. Man to man.
Like, look at that stomach, bro.
I'm picking a fight with you.
Like, his belly button went from being an innie to an outie, bro. Like, that's how you know it's bad.
Whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready to go.
Because Joe Rogan, we don't have to make videos to pretend anymore. All of this is happening. We're coming to you. I've challenged you man to man to a fight. You can hold the hand of somebody that you love, because what happens next to you, you're going to need to remember that feeling. You're going to need something more than what you did.
But Brian took it to a whole different level when he revealed that he was traveling to Austin, Texas to find Joe Rogan and literally kill him.
Just pulling up to the capital of Texas.
Wait, I didn't hear about any of this.
You're dead.
You're dead.
Brian began spamming videos to his Instagram feed all throughout the night, leading up to the next morning when the police arrested him at his hotel after receiving reports of his threats. He was taken to jail but released on a $20,000 bond. Part of his bond conditions were the implementation of a non-contact restraining order, meaning that he could not go near or even speak about Joe Rogan in any capacity. A moment like this should have served as a point of reflection for Brian, realizing that he had gone too far and finally getting the help that he so desperately needs. Unfortunately, that is not the case. As recently as November of 2025, Brian is still obsessing over Joe Rogan, continuing to challenge him to a fight and even taping large pictures of his face all over his walls. This behavior is not normal and continues to make him look extremely manic and or crazy. The cracks in Brian's facade began to show when someone with actual credibility decided to challenge him, just like Dr. Mike Israetel, whose credibility evaporated the moment someone actually read the document that earned him the title doctor, only to find it was full of fabricated claims. What helped Mike stand out from most other influencers in the space was his evidence-based fitness
Well, I
regimen.
actually like this guy. I didn't know he got exposed. Well, I kept up with some of his stuff. I mean, most of the fitness advice he gives though was like pretty standard issue. Like, I mean, nothing was like giga breakthrough. My favorite fitness influencer, if you need someone, is Jeff. I think it's Nippard, Nippard, or Neopard. I don't really know how you say it. He's my favorite guy. He's just chill.
Backed by his PhD
has like no
in
ego. He
sport
just be talking
physiology.
calmly.
Rather than speaking from personal experience and bro science alone, Mike understood at an educated level what it took to achieve your dream physique, and many lifters took his word as gospel. And this sense of credibility seemed to inflate Mike's ego to an extremely high level, with him often bragging about his high IQ and essentially proclaiming to be the smartest fitness coach on the planet.
I've taken the Ravens Advanced Progressive Matrices test, and I pegged at scale high. So you get every single question right. And so my IQ is above 160. We don't know how high because they don't do standardized IQ tests above that. I'm both on a raw IQ scale smarter than almost every coach, maybe every coach. I know.
Okay, but just because you're higher IQ doesn't mean like your research or what you're saying is better. Like, because here's the thing, bro, you could be high IQ and do nothing. You know, there's actually been studies done that some of the highest IQ individuals are actually the most lazy and unambitious people because they overthink everything to the point where they see it as pointless. They literally think themselves out of ambitious behavior. Like, literally, they find it pointless, bro. They find it pointless. And Einstein's IQ was not that high anyways, bro. And look at what he did, okay? I have a cousin who's a certified genius. His dad's a genius too. His son does nothing. Nothing. Also, just because you're lazy and unambitious doesn't mean you have a high IQ, okay? You might still be low IQ and stupid and just unambitious. I'm just saying. So don't cope with that as the reason for why I'm so smart, I'm lazy. No. Okay? You can still lock in. But being high IQ doesn't mean you are going to be more well-versed in certain things. It just means pattern recognition and learning new things is a bit easier. It doesn't mean that you are an encyclopedia of knowledge. It doesn't mean you know more. It means you can understand reasoning quicker. That's pretty much it. It's kind of like how you can understand pattern recognition without being taught the pattern. That's kind of really it. It's not indicative of like, oh, I know more about this subject because my IQ is higher. No, you still need to research and learn about it for you to know about it. It might take less time studying the same thing for you to grasp it, but you still need to investigate and learn about it as a baseline anyways.
More about physiology, body responses, etc. than they do in most cases. And so if I don't trust you intellectually and I think I can do a better job doing what you do than you, it becomes a real big problem for me to follow your advice.
With this arrogance, Mike found himself in public feuds with a
Okay, also this guy is a fraud too. What's his name? What's V-Shred or what is it? I don't remember. Any ad you see of this guy is a fraud. He's like a puppet. He's an attractive guy they use to send out their business model and coaching programs, and it's all done. It's all stupid. It's dumb.
A handful of other prominent fitness influencers, frequently getting into debates and turning to personal insults when things don't go his way.
And also in every category of human behavior, I'm tougher than you. I can train closer to failure than you. I can do it for longer. I'm just better than you, Lyle.
Because Mike views himself with such high regard, he very rarely filters himself, causing him to say things that make him sound completely unhinged.
I'll read a comment on social media directed at me, I guess about me. And it's from like, nameless, faceless. And I begin to fantasize about what it would be like and how much sublime pleasure I would receive in hurting that person at a deep physical and emotional level, hurting them in such a way that they're never going to walk right again, and they're always going to remember me and how they dared to cross me.
As well respected as Dr. Mike was,
Okay, Geodude, you need to calm down, buddy.
he was equally divisive, and many felt compelled to take a closer look at his resume. This included Solomon Nelson, who took it upon himself to dissect Mike's PhD dissertation. This paper was the final requirement for Mike to receive his doctorate degree, and reasonably could be considered the culmination of all of his efforts to achieve his PhD. However, Solomon was shocked to find out how poor the thesis was, going as far as claiming that it deserved a failing grade.
I'll argue that, according to standard assessment criteria, Mike's thesis would have failed, or at the very least been sent back for major revisions at any high-ranking university.
This dissertation was riddled with various issues, such as improper data that implied some of the subjects involved in his study were only 4 pounds, and others were as tall as 345 meters, and some weren't even born yet.
1/3 of the lowest performers was either taller than 3.459 meters, taller than any human ever recorded, or shorter than -6.1 centimeters. As to age, either they were older than 40.4 years of age, or younger than -1.4 years, meaning, once again, that they hadn't yet been born.
The paper was also filled with spelling errors, improper grammar, and general structural issues that made the paper more confusing. However, one of the largest issues with his dissertation was the paper's thesis statement, which sought to prove that athletes with more lean muscle mass performed better than those without it, but it fails to make significant contributions to the field it's related to.
I mean, I feel like that's like a brain dead thesis to come up with, though. Like, you have more muscle, you're gonna probably outperform in physical activities. Duh.
Which Solomon cites as a crucial component to a passing dissertation.
Mike's thesis falls short of fulfilling one of the most fundamental requirements for doctoral research, a significant contribution of original knowledge. The stated goal of Mike's thesis was to explore interrelationships among fitness variables that he claimed were less clear in the existing literature. However, the core findings, stronger athletes are more muscular and powerful, that more powerful athletes jump higher and sprint faster,
like
that leaner athletes perform better in these tasks, are not only unsurprising, but also extensively documented in prior research.
Not only has this thesis been thorough—
By the way, guys, if you jump, gravity's gonna drag you down. Like, no, Sherlock.
proven through separate academic research, it seeks to prove something that most people could easily infer on their own. Like, yeah, obviously having more muscle mass makes you more athletic. The fact that Mike could so incoherently argue what many understood to be a foregone conclusion raised questions about his intelligence and
how are we
authority
speaking
on
at TED? I feel like anyone can get a TED Talk nowadays. Like, TED Talks, I feel like have lost value, bro. Like, the more I see them, the more I'm like, damn. The days to be giving anyone a TED Talk. I could probably get a TED Talk.
Subject of fitness. Now, of course, you don't need a PhD to be a respected figure in the fitness industry, but Mike's whole brand and identity was rooted in his PhD to validate his voice in the community. Not only did the lackluster nature of his dissertation discredit his resume, it also made people question how intelligent he was at all. This guy claimed to be so smart that he essentially broke the scales when testing his IQ, but Dr. Mike can't even spell the word science properly. Now, as mentioned before, you don't need
you typed this, so there was definitely a red underline too, stupid.
PhD to make fitness content. So all he would have had to do is concede that his dissertation was poorly written, cut his losses, and continue making videos with little repercussions. But rather than putting his ego aside, he went into full-blown damage control.
We now know Solomon was looking at an accidentally uploaded incorrect rough draft. So I'll say this, I don't blame him for going hard on it, because he has every reasonable idea to think this was the final draft. It wasn't. We have the final draft now in the link here. And so most of his critiques are just non-starters because the final just doesn't have most of those problems.
The claim that Solomon was reviewing the wrong version of the document may seem like a solid response at first.
I'm not gonna lie, listen, if I didn't want to research anything, that would sell me. Like, I'd be like, okay, well, maybe that's true. You know what I'm saying? Maybe.
Justify things like grammatical and spelling issues.
But like, the research has no basis for being original regardless. So like, how is that still a comparable thesis to be something that's new in your field research of receiving this PhD? You made a very obvious statement with a very obvious conclusion, backed it up with bullshit data, and then the paper had a lot of grammatical errors. So like, unless you rewrote the entire thing, how is that draft even going to turn into anything that's good?
still present in the newer version of the document. The dissertation still failed in terms of its thesis statement and its interpretation of the data, meaning that the entire paper would have to be completely rewritten to sufficiently remedy its
I feel like I
mistake.
paused it, say something, and then he says the exact same thing.
Then Mike tried to claim that the new version of the document was actually dated March of 2013, when the one Solomon had was August of 2013, meaning that Solomon did have the most recent and final version of the document. Mike could not hide from this any longer and had no choice but to finally admit that Solomon had indeed been critiquing the correct version of the dissertation. So yes, he is still a doctor, but maybe not the best one. Despite this being an embarrassing moment for him, and seeing a slight loss of subscribers on his YouTube channel, he still has a large fan base rooting for him and seeing his advice as valuable. But this begs the question, why didn't he just tell the truth?
I feel like his advice for fitness stuff is generally still good, but it's also like stuff that like low-key anyone that like knows enough about training and research could tell you. Anyways, if you want a good fitness influencer, Jeff Nippard is my goat.
From the beginning. This is likely due to his immense insecurity. Mike often touts his intellect and credentials in an effort to validate his position to others as well as himself. But now those credentials aren't respected anymore. Mike's insecurities likely played a huge factor in how he chose to respond. But other internet alpha males take their insecurities even further, like Clavicular, the teen.
This guy's 19, by the way. This guy, okay, I figured it out. I figured out what his thing is, bro. He is so hyper fixated on looks maxing that like he can't do anything else. Like that is his hyper fixation. Like he is so into looks maxing that he like unironically cannot move past it because he's so into it. Bro, he literally will look at a picture of a girl and be like, recessed mandibles, intertemporal joints are low. You have a slight, negative canal tilt. You have a recessed jaw, underdeveloped maxilla. And if you look at the type of, okay, listen, one of my friends was like, yo, if you look at the type of women he wants, he just wants a man. If you look at all of the stuff he wants and the perfect looking person scientifically, it just looks like a man. It just looks like a man. It just looks like a man. Because I think his basis for all his looks maxing research is how to look good as a man. So then he critiques women with the same standards that men have, and then is telling them to look more like men. It just doesn't make sense, bro. It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, also he's like, I don't understand how he's really as popular as he is because he's not entertaining. Like he's very boring. Like he's very boring in my opinion.
Gym bro who literally does meth to maintain his appearance. Most internet alphas tend to focus on the importance of financial enrichment and physical prowess. But let's be honest, the reason why young men want to improve themselves a lot of the times is to get girls. 19-year-old Braden Peters, aka Clavicular, has leaned into this particular aspect of self-improvement, promoting what many refer to as looks maxing.
Like he's attractive, but he's on steroids, does meth, and has obsessed over looking attractive and made that all he does all the time.
Maxing aims to improve one's appearance to its ultimate potential. This can
How do you use
involve
meth to maintain your looks? Doesn't F you up? Okay, meth will F you up over time. He's 19. So right now the side effects of meth are making him look bad, but they will eventually. It will age him quicker, yes. He uses meth, as he says, to suppress his appetite.
Very harmless acts like getting a good haircut and having a skincare routine or dressing well. However, individuals like Clavicular take it to a much more extreme level. He promotes a plethora of different methods to improve your looks that are extremely dangerous, such as bone smashing.
I've been bone smashing for about 2 years, and
And like, I don't see any difference in how he looks then versus now if he's been bone smashing.
I've gotten improvements.
A lot of the times, people that say they've been bone smashing, a lot of the times all they did is lose facial fat, and that's why their face is more hollow and their bones look more, what's the term, like pronounced. It's because they just lost facial fat. A lot of this like sharpening your features is just losing fat. Genuinely. Like a lot of the other stuff is BS.
I used to have flat zygotes pretty much, but bone smash for about 2 years from this point, pretty much every day consistently, and now I'm got some tissue.
As insane as doing something like this is, it pales in comparison to the other advice he gives, like the usage of literal meth to keep his face slim.
I was essentially doing meth for hollow cheeks, guys. I just to come clean and let you know what I was doing.
And this is only one of the many various substances he uses to maximize his appearance, such as minoxidil for hair.
And like, you could easily just like not eat as much and like get the same results. Like, that's the thing. Like, he did meth to suppress his appetite because he couldn't control his appetite. You could just eat less. Like, you could have an ED without a meth addiction. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you don't gotta have both. Like, what? He was trying to expedite the process.
Growth, Accutane for clear skin, and of course, testosterone.
I think minoxidil and Accutane are fine though.
injections for extra gains in the gym,
Testosterone is
substances that will likely
dodgy.
cause immense problems for him later in the future.
People are asking, are you getting
Okay, Accutane is fine. I don't think microdosing it is constantly as good. And also, minoxidil is fine too. The only thing that's bad in that is injecting additional steroids, because if you up your steroid count past a certain amount, like then your body's supposed to naturally produce and go above normal ranges, it leads to problems.
fertile? Do you worry about like having children?
So right now, I am infertile.
But he does this for one simple reason. Clavicular believes that your appearance is everything.
He's infertile because he wants to look good too.
The more attractive you are, the better your life will be. He takes this mentality so far that he views getting a $35,000 jaw surgery as an investment that will pay itself off.
And here's the thing. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't agree with his methods or anything, but he is correct in the sense that being attractive makes life easier in every aspect. It does. And if you disbelieve that, you are stupid. It does. But my best advice to people who are worried about looking good is focus on the money. And then when you have money, you can just pay for everything to look better. I'm just saying, stop focusing on looking good. Okay, focus on the bag, and then you can fix all that with the money. I'm just telling you, okay? Dead ass. Unless your career requires you to look pretty, you're a public figure, you want to be in movies, whatever. But sometimes for acting and stuff, they don't want people that look too attractive. You need to look regular enough to fit certain characters. So you can't be a giga. You can't. Some of the most successful actors and actresses aren't really that great looking. They just look like normal people because they play roles of normal people in stuff. Like, it's just,
I'm really just talking about a purely logical return on investment. I see myself, I'm like, well, what am I? My face, I am a social media influencer, right? So if I spend this amount of money on a double jaw surgery, right? It's gonna cost me about 30 grand to do the surgery. Will this pay itself off if all goes well? And I'm saying overwhelmingly yes.
Personal coaching program,
But do what
he
you
sells
want.
young, insecure men on the hope that they can one day surpass
also,
their
if you're taking life advice from a 19-year-old, they've been living life on their own for like 3 years max. What are you learning from them? Like, what are you, like, literally, what do you, like,
genetic limit.
He just said he does meth to stay skinny. Like,
which he refers to as ascending. This course includes things like a full facial analysis, a full-blown gym routine, and a list of different supplements to help improve your image. The only problem is this does not sound like an effective way to remedy someone's insecurities. In fact, these things have only the potential to make them worse. Clavicular uses his own ascension as
and like, respectfully, his face doesn't look much different than when he was younger either. He was always attractive. He just got rid of his acne, hit the gym, and lost some facial fat.
As a testimonial that his system,
like, that's literally it. Like, he just got older and lost some of the baby fat.
Of looks maxing truly works, although many have taken note of the fact that most of his physical improvements are simply the byproduct of growing up. Before versus before. It really just looks like 2 years of puberty. Bro grew up. The reality is that Clavicular is completely delusional, but in an ironic sense, he is undoubtedly the most honest person in this entire video.
Yeah, he is. No, he is. Listen. He's horrible, but he's at least being honest about it. He says he does meth. He says he's infertile. He says all this stuff. Like, he does not. So I'll give it to him. At least he's honest, okay? He's not preaching to the young kids with deception. He's being like, yeah, I do meth to look good. You know what I'm saying?
He is extremely aware of the negative ramifications of his usage.
Wait, why are you infertile right now?
It's like a negative feedback loop when you're not needing to produce testosterone anymore because your body realizes, okay, we're getting it from an exogenous
So you're not producing
source.
any testosterone naturally?
No.
None?
No.
Oh, I'm not taking TRT, bro.
How do you think it works? You just don't, your body realizes we're at a certain level we don't need anymore, so it stops producing it.
The reason why he is on this
and that's why you cycle on and off of steroids, because if you keep doing it, your body will stop doing it and permanently, and then guess what? You can't get off steroids because your body forgets how to produce it.
Is because he believes that he is genetically disadvantaged and has only made himself ascend to a slightly above average appearance.
These people, these looks max creators, we're all genetically gifted. They don't really understand, how it is to grow up.
And also, he was never ugly too. That's the crazy part. Like, no, he actually just wasn't. Like, he was always attractive. And so he genuinely thinks he was ugly. Okay.
Not exactly good
Low-key though, I feel you, bro. I used to think I was chopped cheddar cheese too. Okay, listen, I'm with you.
People are placing me high tier normie as a little bit above average, between a 6 to a 6.5 on an actual decile scale that makes sense.
According to Clavicular himself, both of his parents are bodybuilders, and he began taking testosterone at only 14 years old to achieve a larger physique. So it's likely that from a young age, he derived self-worth from physical appearance, and has developed extremely severe body and facial dysmorphia as a result.
I was on a little bit of everything, to be honest, growing up. Test at 14.
How do you even get testosterone at 14?
I just ordered it on the internet.
He has even directly acknowledged that he is actively shortening his lifespan for the sake of looks.
It is very likely that some of my lifespan will be diminished with the things that I'm doing. I don't believe that's from some of the steroids, but maybe some of the recreational drugs in conjunction with the steroids. So that's a very real possibility.
As sad as this is, it does not absolve him from personal responsibility. His program currently has over 1.4 thousand active members, each paying $50 a month to take part. This coaching program has grown exponentially in recent weeks, most notably because of a viral clip of him injecting fat-dissolving peptides into his 17-year-old girlfriend's face on stream. Other clips show him casually picking up girls and even criticizing their
listen, before anyone in chat's like, oh my God, he's a PDF out, bro. He's 19. That's 2 years. But everything else he did, crazy. Injecting peptides into your girlfriend, crazy.
Facial flaws.
He dumped her too later, by the way. For those that don't know the lore, like he dumped that girl. Like she out.
Meeting them.
Oh yeah, so you have like a recessed maxilla, so I can't.
What's that?
And, like your upper jaw, it's just a little recessed, so I can't. I mean, you know what I mean?
Are you looking at me? I don't know what that means.
Like he wants girls to look like men, bro, because she's pretty. What do you mean?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just like a developmental flaw. It's no worries.
Clips like these only feed into the persona that Clavicular is trying to create, where he is an unstoppable and irresistible specimen who has achieved his power through looks maxing. And it's working, because his audience nor his customers see him as deeply insecure. And he continues to take advantage of his impressionable audience, much like Marquette Burton, who has created an entire—
Like, I'm gonna be honest, like, it's so obvious he's insecure too, because all he ever does is talk about how other people are ugly and da-da-da-da-da. Like, bro, if you were really secure in how you looked, you wouldn't really care this much about it.
Entire red pill cult that is surprisingly working. On the surface, Marquette, aka the Saint and the Sinner, seems like just another run-of-the-mill internet alpha male. He sells courses, portrays himself as a business genius, and bashes women on—
Anyone that has to sell a course to make money doesn't know what they're talking about. Unless they already have undeniable proof that they've done it. Like, for example, a mentor that you pay money for because you actually have seen the business they've scaled, worth investing in my opinion, if you so choose to pay for that. Someone who they say they've gotten rich, they have no proof or paper trail of being rich before. There's no proof or paper trail of them owning or selling any businesses, any assets, managing any companies. It's all just word of mouth. I have rich. Look at my Bugatti. Look at my house. How would I have this if I wasn't rich? I wouldn't have a Bugatti in a house if I, didn't have a real job and wasn't super rich. Yeah, no, you paid like $60 to film in that mansion like one time, and you rented the Bugatti for like couple $1,000s for that one day. Boom. Now you have people on the internet sold that you actually own these things, and then they pay you to then actually be able to start affording them.
Podcasts.
Would you feel comfortable if your father was watching your OnlyFans and subscribing to it?
Probably not, no.
You would not feel comfortable, and I'll tell you why. That's because in your heart of hearts and your soul, if you still got one, you know it's wrong. And I'll give you an example.
Okay, but would you feel comfortable with your father watching you have like, you don't even got to film it for that question to still be a no. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like like even if you're trying to say it's morally wrong, your line of logic is just not there. Like, it's not there. You know what I'm saying? Like, come up with a different talking point to get the same message across. Any clip from this podcast is horrible. Do not watch this trash. It's so bad. He pays like 7 girls to sit there and get insulted, and then that's the whole business model. I don't understand these podcasts where they pay these women to get roasted and they just take it. And only what ends up happening is like the men who watch these podcasts and are like, yeah, all women are da-da-da-da, will end up subscribing to these women's OnlyFans and therefore making them enough money for them to justify going on these podcasts and getting insulted. So the men that claim these women are and sluts and worthless will then pay money to watch their erotic content. How you mad at a service that you're using?
That's your work. In my work, if my mother consumed my work, I'd be thankful and pleased that she took an interest in my work and supported my work. If she bought my products, I'd be thankful. If your mother or father bought your products, you'd be disgusted and ashamed because you know what you're doing is wrong and the product of what you're doing is bad.
Of course, he also has the tendency to fabricate every aspect of his life, lying about being a multimillionaire thanks to his background in application development. Although when you take a look at his resume, it's clear that he is not nearly as wealthy as he claims to be. In 2012, he launched his first company, Hobby Buddy, a social media platform that connected local strangers to help plan in-person activities. Hobby Buddy's website remained dormant for over 6 years, promoting the eventual release of a mobile app that would never see the light of day. His next business venture was called the Fletch app, a mobile application that gave universities the power to track student attendance. Marquette hoped to sell licenses to colleges in need of the service, although this effort failed, and the application has been defunct for over 5 years. He later shifted his focus to Why Not, a mobile application that was essentially a Craigslist for Wi-Fi hotspots. Despite Why Not's failure, Marquette landed himself an article in Forbes for his work on the application, which in reality is just a puff piece paid for by Marquette himself. His last major endeavor was an app called My Key, which was basically just a glorified geotag that never went anywhere. Now, I'm not coming at Marquette for failing. It is extremely difficult to start a successful business, and if anything, his persistence is admirable. But Marquette pretends that these failed businesses were actually huge successes, and claims they helped him become a self-made millionaire with a net worth of $100 million. But it's very obvious
if you view failure
that
as a success because it points you in the path that you need to go on, then sure, whatever, reframe it that way. However, like, that's not what he's doing. He's using it to be like, oh, look at me being rich from this, when like you were never rich from that.
Nowhere near that kind of wealth. In 2020, Marquette was featured in an article discussing his involvement in the C program, which offered aspiring entrepreneurs a $50,000 investment to relocate to Erie, Pennsylvania. Despite claiming to be massively successful, Marquette was willing to move states just to keep his business afloat. Once again, I respect the hustle, but it's hard to imagine a multimillionaire would move to Erie, Pennsylvania to do something like this. It's also hard to imagine that someone of this status would spend their time arguing with women on podcasts, selling self-improvement courses, and streaming multiple times a week to a small audience. Marquette goes to extreme lengths to portray himself as much more than just a glorified red pill live streamer, going as far as creating a fake BBC documentary about himself.
The Kenyans lit.
You created a fake BBC documentary? Oh, get the out of here, bro.
Literally rolled out the red carpet for Mr. Burton's arrival. He is an enigmatic figure, a businessman and a boxer, an author, a stoic, and a poet.
He originally had this YouTube video titled as BBC coverage or BBC Emerging World Leaders Profile, and then they made him change the title because obviously it's not a BBC thing.
Just about every internet alpha male portrays themselves as high-status individuals, imparting their wisdom on their
They always got these weird little like ass black hats too.
Followers. But Marquette has created a full-blown cult. The Sassin follows an ideology called Marquetteism, which is essentially a religion based around men being alphas and women being second-class citizens.
Yo, come on.
Nearly every element of the Sassin follows classic cult structure. It starts with rituals and traditions, mandatory greetings, group chants, and repeated creeds, all of which exist to reinforce belonging and suppress individuality. The two ideals make the group identity your primary identity, explicitly replacing—
I love how someone in chat said, and not you, Quinn. Hey, thank you, Quinn. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'll be a girly pop any day of the week. I got you. I think what saves me is I don't really have a fragile sense of masculinity because I just genuinely don't care. Like, no, I've been called gay my whole life. I've been called this, that, the third. I don't care anymore. Like, what do you, okay. I don't, like, it doesn't matter to me. It's stupid. Who cares? If I'm making money and not wanting to die, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up, I got more important problems to deal with, like my health. You know, I don't need to worry about being an alpha. Like,
race, nationality, and even standard family structure with loyalty to the organization. This ideology also lays out different levels of existence: confirmed saints, good people, and the wicked, all of which ties into the cult's fundamental rule system, what Marquette calls the 3-sentence Bible.
Number 1, be yourself. Number 2, be good to yourself. Number 3, be good to good people.
From there, it establishes a strict hierarchy.
Wow. So I feel like a 3-year-old could Provide a better religion than that. It's okay when you can be a Sigma. Oh, people that use Sigma, I hate too. Like, I know these terms are just ridiculous, bro.
Where one man sits at the top and everyone else, especially women, is assigned to a rigid, subservient role.
Always some gays and able to towards somebody who aren't alpha males is dumb. My favorite thing, though, unironically, is to call these alpha males gay because that's the one thing they don't want to be called. I have no problem if you're gay. I do not care. The only reason I will ever be like, yeah, this dude's gay, because they don't want to be gay. They're so against gay people that them being called gay is the ultimate insult. That's why I'm gonna call them gay. But if you're actually gay, I do not care. Shout out to you, honestly. I feel like it's very brave to, you know, be comfortable actually being yourself when there's people out there that hate your existence for literally no reason.
The rules for women read less like relationship guidance and more like obedience training. Don't speak while thinking. Don't interrupt peace. Cook every 4 hours. Manage his food. Manage his house. Manage his schedule. But never
So you want an assistant?
question him. And most importantly, the system positions the outside world as the wicked, while members become saints, creating an us versus them mentality that isolates followers, making the group the only place where they feel understood, valued, or morally superior. And of course, there's a direct correlation with moving up in the ranks and how much money you give to Marquette, whether it be through his business coaching courses or ticket sales for in real life events.
I just genuinely don't understand how people buy into this stuff so easily when it's like so obviously just bullshit. Like, are people that lost in society? I mean, maybe they are. I just, like, as someone who's been through a lot of really rough shit, I never once thought to look to someone like this for guidance. I don't know. So I don't really understand the mentality of doing so, but I guarantee maybe some people are more prone to doing that. I've always been someone who is, a lot of the problems I've dealt with in life haven't had a solution from someone else because there's no way to solve them. Like my chronic health, for example, there's no solution to that. So I had to learn how to deal with it myself. So I think that's made me a lot of self-sufficient and a lot of problem solving per se. So maybe that's why I haven't like looked to others for guidance as much. But like, I don't know. I feel like being this out of luck that you're paying money for someone to just lie to you is very sad, you know?
I also find it hilarious that a single woman is only required to pay $200 and a single man has to pay 3 times as much at $600, because it's hard to see why any single woman would enter a room full of people that believe in Marquettism. Yet despite the insanely high price of these tickets, Marquette manages to convince a surprising amount of people that they are well worth it, and watching them all speak in a circle gives strong cult vibes.
For the good of the assassin.
For the good of assassin.
For the good of the assassin. For the good of the assassin.
For the good of the assassin.
For the good of the assassin.
For the good of the assassin. For the good of the assassin.
For the good of the assassin.
For the good of the assassin.
Typically when internet alpha males sell courses online, they do it solely for the chance to make some easy cash. But Marquette seems to be attracted to something much more sinister: power and control. He is driven by his own self-obsession and desire to be worshipped, with the potential income only being part of his true motives. He's trying to sell people on a worldview that ties back to himself and his excellence. A lot of what Marquette is doing seems to be taken out of the playbook of Andrew Tate.
Bro, naming dictators justify his height is top tier comedy. Yeah, no, I still can't get over the fact that he was like, yeah, Stalin and Hitler were short and they achieved great things. Like, what do you mean? You said that? You said that?